my first year of college. I did the first semester, and now I'm just going to be completing the rest of the year, and we'll see how that goes while I'm driving. So we're going to start. So one thing I didn't mention in the first semester of my college experience, I actually, in the time frame between my rude math teacher and my English teacher, I was having problems with them, and this was unrelated, but it was still affecting me. So what happened was, I have this anxiety problem, and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned it before, but it's something I need to kind of recap about. So my anxiety is pretty bad, and I didn't know that until I was at school, and I would have extreme pain in my rib cage underneath my boobs. Like TMI, I don't care. It was painful, and it's something that people need to know about. And it's something like I'm having it right now. It hurts. So I was having that problem, but I didn't know what it was. So it was kind of scary because I was having these extreme pains, and not knowing what that is really scary for me, because you don't know what that is. And until you know what it is, it kind of is a big question mark. So there was that, but the bigger problem was the fact that I was talking to my wellness coach all the time about my health, and I had to, let's see, oh, it's gonna be bright. There's a lot of traffic. So I was having heart palpitations. If you don't know what that is, it is when your heart skips a beat, and my heart was doing that all the time. And I'm sorry if the lighting's like really bad. It's nothing I can control. I can't control the sun, so if you don't want to look at my face because it's like that, then just listen. It's going in and out of focus. I don't know why. It's probably because of the sun. Like half of my face is sun, and I'm already white, so anyway, I was talking to my wellness coach, and I told her my heartbeat is worrisome, and it got to the point where I was in class. I was taking notes as a job for one of my classes, and it's a note-taking job for me, taking notes for people with disabilities because they can't take notes themselves. So that's what I was doing, and the notes would be on the board in front of me, and I'm on the first row to get like a first glimpse of it. And I would look up, look down, and I don't know, because I have so many body problems that it could be me not drinking enough water, which I can't drink a lot of water because I have a very, very small bladder. A very small, well, I still have a very small bladder, and it's not even the fact that I have a small bladder, it's the fact that my muscles aren't strong enough to hold a lot of pee. And if that's TMI, it's like whatever, because this is like an actual problem. Like, people actually have these problems, and I have these problems. So if you have this problem, just know that you're not alone. But if you don't have this problem, it's just an awareness, I guess. I don't know. But it's just me talking about my experience. So I was dealing with me becoming really dizzy, looking up and down, and I would get really lightheaded, and that was really, really bad, because I don't know, like, is that me being dehydrated? I didn't know. I was getting really scared, so whenever I got really dizzy, I would obviously have to stop. I would take out my water bottle, drink some water, but at the same time, I'm getting paid to do notes, so it's not like I can take a break and then, okay, let me go and take notes again. No, he goes through the notes really, really, really fast, and he posts the notes right after the class, but my job ends right when the class ends, so I need to take the notes in the class duration of time. So it's not like, oh, I can take a break and do all of this after class. No, I'm paid for the entire class time. And he told me to stop taking notes to participate in class because I was getting in trouble for doing my job. And he was the one that offered the job to me, which I thought was BS, to be honest, but he was one of my best teachers, so I'm not going to complain. So that happened before any of my talking with my wellness coach happened. But it started to get really worrisome because I'd be walking up the stairs and feeling very dizzy, lightheaded, almost all the time, seeing stars, and my heart beating so fast that at night I couldn't sleep for the entire night and maybe into the morning time because my heart would not calm down. I was really scared, and me adding more fear to my heart palpitations, it didn't help. So my university or college has a health center, and it's like a real mini doctor's office. You actually have to obviously pay for it. It's not part of the tuition, which is, I believe, is stupid to me because it should be. Health is just as important as learning, especially if it's on campus and it's available for students. It should be in the tuition, but it is not. So I was told by my wellness coach, because I told her everything that was happening, and she said, okay, you need help, so go to the school's doctor's office. So I go there, and I was told by my wellness coach and by my mentor at my teacher's college, they told me it's like $25 per visit, and even if there's nothing wrong and you go for an appointment for like one appointment, it's $25. And I'm like, well, I'm on insurance, but I'm on access, so not a lot of places actually take that. So I went in hoping that they could take my access, so I'm just like being cheap. Like, if I don't have to pay $25, I'm not going to pay $25. It's just as simple as that. But I went in, and I told them what was happening to me. And they're just like, okay, you'll need to have an x-ray and have your blood work taken to make sure you're okay. And I'm like, okay, so how much is it gonna be overall? And he told me that it's gonna be $180 for this visit. But if you do our plan, you can pay $180, and then after that, you can pay $25 for each appointment after that. And that's what my mentor was talking about. And that's not what she told me. That was a part of the plan. So I was led on. I was really upset, and I actually told them, okay, let me think about it and talk to someone else about this first, so that way I'm making the right decision here. So I went outside of the place. I left my shit inside the office, the front desk, and I went outside and cried on the phone to my boyfriend because I just didn't know what to do. I didn't want to pay $180. I thought that was stupid. I'm a college student, a $180 is ridiculous. They couldn't, I'm an ASU student, I had my ID on me, and, oh my god, the camera's wobbling, I'm sorry. I have my ID on me, I am a literal student, like, I don't know why it's so expensive when tuition is already really expensive. Like, college students don't really have time for jobs, depending on if they're a full-time student or not. Like, it's stupid to have that amount, but I guess I understand because it's a doctor's office nonetheless. So I got really irritated, so much to the point where my body kind of shut down, and I just cried, and I had a mental breakdown on this bench, which a lot of people saw, which at this point I really didn't care. And when I cry, like, my whole face turns red, I get all, like, splotchy in the face. It's really embarrassing when I cry, and at that point I was just like, I don't know what to do. So I called my wellness coach again. And keep this in mind, this entire time I was going to the doctor's office at ASU during one of my classes. And she told me, okay, I told her the situation, and she was really confused. And like, okay, I know you can't afford that, you're a college student, that's ridiculous. Even she was agreeing with me, and she was a wellness coach, and she didn't even know that. Which, I don't know, I don't really care. At this point, it's already resolved, but it wasn't at that time. She told me to go to urgent care. Yeah, that's when I went to urgent care. And that scared me because I thought like something was really wrong with me. I mean, of course there was something wrong. I just didn't know what, and she didn't know what. So we were both concerned, so she just said, okay, go to urgent care and see what they can do. So I go early after my last class of the day and go to urgent care. I told my boyfriend, hey, can you come with me so I'm not alone, so that way I don't have some sort of problem wrong with me and they're doing some sort of test. And I know at this point I'm going to the office or the urgent care, and I'm just like, okay, I know for a fact they're gonna take my blood, and I hate needles so much, and I'm scared, and I hate getting my blood drawn. I don't even think I had my blood drawn since I was a baby, and at this point I was just terrified. So I go into urgent care with my boyfriend. We met at the place, and I told them what was happening to me, like the dizziness, lightheaded, my heart is beating so fast, and I believe that's it. That's all I was feeling. No, the stars. And the lady's like, okay, we'll call you when we're ready. And this place has about 4 people waiting. And inside, there wasn't any commotion. Like, it wasn't that busy. And the people waiting didn't even look like they were in any sort of bad condition. So they pulled me back really fast because they thought I was having a heart attack. And what people might think about heart attacks, like you have to be a certain age to have a heart attack. No, you can have a heart attack at any time of your life. And it just depends on the level of what your life is at. And if that doesn't make any sense to you, research, because that's all I can tell you. You don't know until you've been through it yourself. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. So they thought I was having a heart attack, so they pulled me in right away. They put those little sticker things on me to measure my heartbeat and make sure that I wasn't really having a heart attack. So they did that, and since my chest, like the bones in my ribs, my rib and my sternum hurt, and they have like flare-ups, and I didn't know why they were hurting. This lady that was putting the stickers on me was pushing it down, and in like the least amount of force that she was pushing on me, I was almost crying from how much it hurt. It was hurting so bad. And I looked at her and I'm just like, "You're hurting me. This hurts." And she looked at me like I was stupid. Like, "No, that doesn't hurt. Like, you're not in my head. Why are you telling me I'm wrong?" And the sticky thing kept on coming off. So she had to hold it even harder down. And at this point, my eyes are watering, like it hurts. And I'm in so much pain because she's literally holding it down and she doesn't believe me that I'm in pain, which is BS. It's so irritating to this day, even that. So they said everything was fine. They put that little thing on the finger, like the clamp, to measure my heartbeat while they were gone. They took it all off, and they said, "Okay, we'll be back to take your blood." And they come in like 30 minutes later with not only a syringe but a tube. And I'm like, "What's the tube for?" "Well, we're gonna put stuff in you." And I believe it was stuff to make me feel like calmer. So they put the syringe in me, took some blood. I don't think they even took blood. I think they took blood. They took blood, and they took it, and then they attached the tube inside my arm. And I have pictures, I'll show you, if you want to see it. And there's like a little bit of blood. You can see a little bit of blood inside the tube, but I mean, other than that, you can't really see it. So they leave the tube in my arm. They're just like, "Okay, you need to keep the tube in your arm until the whole thing is gone. Like, there's a bag that my body needs to absorb to make me feel better." Well, they're just like, "Okay, and then after that we'll come in to make sure that it's all gone and you are feeling better." They didn't come back for about almost 2 hours. It was a very long time, and in the majority of the time that I had this stuff going inside of me, I felt so tired. Like, so tired. But not to the point where I was going to go to sleep. At one point, I had to go to the bathroom, and I had to like bring I can't even see. I had to bring that wheelie thing with the bag. I don't know hospital terms. I don't know emergency room terms. I don't know that. So give me crap for that. But that's what happened. I brought it to the bathroom because I had to pee. So I got back, and in the majority of the time I was waiting for them to take that thing back. There was a crime show on TV, and we didn't know how to change the channel because we were kind of messing with the TV to change the channel because there was a crime show where this guy was kidnapping these girls and murdering them. And I'm like, "Great, that's amazing." And that is not what I want to see while I'm in an urgent care room, which I don't even know what's going on at this point. They haven't even told me what's wrong with me. So they come in after a long time later. After a long time later, this tube had ran out of the liquid stuff and was actually taking out. The whole tube was filled with my blood. And they come in and they're just like, "Oh, that has a lot of blood in it." Yeah. I was waiting in here for a long time. And they're just like, oh, well, it's alright, we'll just throw it away. Okay, you're not even gonna use it. That was a waste of my time and a waste of my blood. But whatever. It's really irritating as well. I don't know if that's normal, but it shouldn't be. So, after they left with that, they bandaged me up. And the thing with me and like needles and stuff, after they're done doing the needle stuff, I cannot look at that area for a very long time, nor do I want to. So once the band-aid's on, I want that band-aid to stay on for as long as possible until it starts peeling off itself. I know that sounds really, really gross, but that's just how I am. I can't even look at my veins without almost gagging. I'm ridiculous, I know. That's just who I am. So anyway, they come back in at the very end of it, and they hand me paperwork about the visit. And they asked me, have you ever had an anxiety attack before? And I said, I think actually no, they didn't ask me that. They said, have you ever had anxiety before? Something very general. And I said, yes. And they're just like, okay, so here's your paperwork, you're good to go. And I had to sign a few things. And they left. And they're just like, you're good to go whenever you're ready. So I got all my things. And I ended up looking at the paperwork when I got back home. And by the way, when we exited the room that I was in, the people, like the doctors and nurses or whatever, they were all just BSing around in the office right next door. They weren't even helping any other patients. They were actually throwing paper balls at each other and playing on their phones. So all that time that I was waiting for them to come and get that stupid tube out of my arm, they were just fucking around. And that's really irritating and super unprofessional, especially since I actually saw it myself. And that should not be a thing. That was so unprofessional. And they asked me after this, like, can you please fill out a survey to tell us how good we did? And I wanted to say so bad, no, you guys did fucking terrible. I don't even want to waste my time on you. This was a big waste of time. I could have been out of here 2 hours earlier because this is just ridiculous. And it's not even that they were busy. So, I looked at the papers when I got home, and it said that I have heart palpitations and that I needed to go and see a cardiologist. So at this point I'm just like, okay, great. I read into it, and it's just like when your heart skips a beat, and that's pretty much it. And it's pretty common, especially for people like me who have anxiety. So that was pretty much the whole situation with the emergency room. So at this point, I am ready to call a cardiologist through my insurance plan. So I call my insurance plan. Actually, no, I don't call an insurance plan. I research around to see which cardiologist takes my insurance, and then called the place that took my insurance that's the closest to me, and I asked them for an appointment, but apparently you need a referral from a regular doctor to have an appointment at a cardiologist. So I'm going like playing telephone. Like the people at the urgent care didn't tell me that. They just said make an appointment with your cardiologist, as if I already had one. And if I already had one, this wouldn't be an issue where I'm actually going to the emergency room. So I mean, I'm 18 at, no, I'm 19 at this point, and I was clueless about my health. Like, I didn't know all of this stuff, and they were acting as if I did. So at this point, I had to go and find a doctor that took my insurance, and luckily there is a doctor's office about like 2 minutes away from my house. So I ended up making an appointment there, and I made the appointment, and I ended up going to a doctor's visit. And I talked to the lady about almost all of my problems. I had to list out everything that was wrong with me because I didn't know how much time she had. I don't know how much time I had. If there was a time limit, like, I didn't know. So, she talked to me very sincerely, like, I care about you. She kept on saying, we'll get this fixed, I need you to be okay. And she prescribed me 3 different medications, one for depression, because they had me fill out depression and anxiety forms, and I was super, super, super high on that. And she told me actually I should be in a mental hospital because of how high my depression and anxiety is. The only reason I am not going to a mental hospital is because I don't have suicidal thoughts. And a doctor that does not, like, is not a professional in the field of mental health, like, she even said, but I'm not a professional in mental health, so I don't even know. If you don't know, then don't say anything about that, because that's very scary. That's a mental hospital isn't something you bring up like, oh, you could be going there, but I don't know. Like, you don't do that. That is so messed up. So she was saying stuff like that, and I got really offended because my dad has actually gone to a mental hospital a little bit, I think more than once, and to know that that could have been a possibility, but I don't know, is really offensive. So, after the appointment, they were supposed to send my meds over to a pharmacy, and they ended up sending 1 prescription over to the pharmacy. And I asked the pharmacy, okay, I was supposed to get 3. They're just like, no, we only had 1 sent over. And it was for heartburn. It was for heartburn, because I have extreme heartburn. And I needed bone inflammation and depression. And I called them. I'm just like, okay, so I need these 2 prescriptions sent over to the pharmacy, please. I've asked the doctor, and she told me that she was going to send them over the day that I saw her. And then I ended up getting the prescription sent over to the pharmacy a couple days after. So they're just like, okay. And nothing. So I ended up calling the office. I'm like, can I talk to her? And they're just like, no, you can talk to her assistant, though. So I'm like, okay. So I'm transferred over to the assistant, and he doesn't answer, so I leave a message. I'm like, here's my number. You need to call me back as soon as you can. And he calls me back, but I'm at school, so my phone is sent to voicemail. And he said, okay, you need to tell me the medications that she prescribed you, and then we could be good. So I call him back. He doesn't answer again, and I left a voicemail. I'm just like, I was only told that I have to have bone inflammation and depression meds. This needs to get fixed and sent over as soon as possible because I am in so much pain, and I would like it fixed. And he calls back and he says, okay, the prescriptions have been sent over, but your next appointment has been canceled because the doctor that you're seeing is going to be sick, so you need to reschedule with her. No, he didn't say she was going to be sick. He just said she is not available for that day. So, this whole phone tag lasted for about a week and a half. So I had to wait that long for the pills, which isn't that bad, but it's still like poor service to me, and it was just really irritating. And for how much she really, really sincerely cared about me, she really did not give a shit about my prescriptions being given to me right away, like she told me to. Like she told me that they were gonna do. Which was like, if you promise something and you really sincerely care, then why do I not have my medication? And I had to actually fight for my prescriptions myself in order to get help. That was like complete BS. Like, just because I'm young doesn't mean you have to screw me over. I'm aware that you're screwing me over, and that's not gonna help me in the long run. Is it gonna help you in the long run? Are you gonna feel better about it? Are you gonna sleep better at night about that? Treating me like that? That's like really irritating to me. So, I went to a different doctor after that, because I'm just like, that's not gonna work for me. I'm too mentally unstable to handle people like that right now. And I'm seeing so many like wellness people and people that I'm talking to about my health and my mental health, my physical health, my student health, like my well-being at school, like learning wise. And I was still having issues with people and having a hard time coping with that. So I go to a different doctor, and he told me, okay, you have more problems than I thought, and this doctor prescribed you a different medication that she should not have given you, so I had to get different medications, and I ended up having to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 medications per day. And that's current up to this day. I have visited the doctor as frequently as I can, in between school and now work. I visit the doctor whenever I have any problems or questions. So I did that, and yeah, that's currently what I'm taking. So that is like a big medical it is a big medical overview of what happened during this whole entire year of my freshman year, which isn't even completely done, but I believe this is all the like medical issues, other than the fact that when I was younger and throughout my entire life in general, I have had a very severe bladder issue, like to this day, where it's getting worse. Sometimes I can't make it to the bathroom in time, and my bladder is weaker than women that actually have had children. So I'm getting that kind of fixed currently. I have to actually go to the doctor at the end of the month, this month, to have kind of like an epidural, so that way my nerves don't feel anything down there, because they're going to shove a camera up in my bladder, which is supposed to really hurt. So I asked them to like numb me up, and I can't drive myself home, so I have to have my boyfriend take the day off of work, because they only have the time frame available in the morning, so he's just going to take the entire day off. And that also means that I can't work that day, because they told me I can't. So and then after that I have another appointment, which they're going to monitor how much I can pee and control that pee, which would not be any at all. Yeah. it's stressing me out, to be honest. I'm really irritated with how much health problems I have, and it really, really, really feels like I'm alone at this age. Like, not many people my age have this much health problems that I'm aware, and it's hard for me to cope with that because I have so many health problems that get in the way of what I want to do on a day-to-day basis. And even if I want to have fun, go out, hang out with my friends, these problems that I have currently affect the way that I behave while I'm with my friends, and it affects the way that I can stay out longer, or if I even can go out with them, because I hurt so much. Like, these flare-ups in my ribcage, like right now it hurts so much, and it used to hurt a lot worse, but I'm taking medication for it. But even on the medication, it hurts, and I'm on some of the strongest medications for the flare-ups. So it's hard to deal with it because there's not much more that the doctors can do other than the fact that give me anxiety meds and give me bone inflammation meds, and hopefully that will help me throughout time. Like, there's no like time frame officially to tell me like this is how long you're gonna have to take the medication. They don't know. It depends. And since my case is so severe, I'm probably gonna end up taking the medications for years. And it's pretty unfortunate to hear, but it is what it is. I'd rather be healthy rather than hurting. So that's currently what's been going on. I haven't had any school-related issues this semester. This is my second semester. Real issues. I'm taking about like 4 online classes, and I'm taking 1 physical class where I'm actually going to the college, and I took a yoga class the first half of the semester. I was supposed to take another yoga class the second half, but I actually got a job. I work at an elementary school, which helps my future job, which is teaching at an elementary school. So my work experience means a lot to me, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And I believe I covered everything else. I have a part 4 supposed to be coming out in a little bit. I think the part 4 is actually supposed to be before this, and this is the last part. And this is going to be the overall cover of the year. And my first semester of college was a hard one, and I believe it's going to be the hardest one for anyone. It was hard for me. So yeah, I know this is a long video, and I know you're kind of over the whole story by now, but I thought I'd share with you just because people have different experiences. I've had a different experience than everyone else, so I'm gonna go before I get bored of myself. So I'm home. I've been home for a little bit, so have a great rest of your day if there is a rest, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.